introduction of the concept of high sensitivity in the degree in gastronomy and culinary arts is very relevant, considering the relationship established between different personality traits and gastronomic preferences. In addition, it has been proven that the gastronomic context also modulates dinner satisfaction, and one of the factors that modulate this relationship are personality traits.
It's important that the students know the concept of high sensitivity and identify it as a personality trait, differentiating it from a medical diagnosis. In this way, they will be able to provide the services according to the sensory characteristics of the patient.
Introducing and training early childhood and primary education degrees students about high sensitivity is very important, considering the work that these professionals carry out in the educational field. Knowing the characteristics of high sensitivity and identifying highly sensitive students will allow them to develop a positive teaching learning process for all students from an inclusive perspective, which allows them to develop the potential of all students, including the highly sensitive ones.
In the subject that I teach in this degree, called Psychological Well-being and Gastronomy, we have introduced the concept in different topics, as well as through the workshop that has been given by members of the research team of the project. In this sense, the relationship between high sensitivity and gastronomic preferences is analyzed, paying attention to aspects such as food textures, plating, or contrasts. In addition, it is also considered in contents related to the physical gastronomic space, where it can be adapted to the diversity of dinners, paying special attention to the characteristics of people with high sensitivity.
The subject I teach in the nursing degree is Support Groups. This course focuses on the communication of nursing staff with patients, not only attending to verbal and non-verbal communication, but also to stimulate and spaces. I integrate this concept in the subject of patients with diversity, emphasizing the idea that it isn't a medical diagnosis, but rather a personality trait.
The concept has been introduced in a punctual way throughout the different topics and practical contents of the subject. As curricula are currently structured, it is not possible to officially modify them according to the regulations, but there is a certain flexibility in being able to introduce content related to the established curriculum. In subjects such as attention to student diversity, this is a very interesting topic.
From my point of view, they have learned more about the characteristics that highly sensitive people have, as well as how these characteristics can influence their gastronomic preferences in general. This has allowed them to get their understanding of the need to cater to the diversity of dinners in the development and gastronomic offerings, and to understand how different personality or temperamental traits will influence dinner satisfaction with a given gastronomic offering.
The most important thing is that they know how to identify this personality trait in patients and differentiate it from a medical diagnosis. Once identified, it's necessary that they know how to adapt the interview to the needs of the patient, using adequate spaces without noise or intense light, correct to avoid and applying a lot of edible.
I believe that the students have been able to learn about the characteristics of highly sensitive students, as well as the importance of developing positive educational context to allow this group of students developing their potential. In addition, they have been able to learn about examples and resources to develop and implement in the classroom from a positive and inclusive perspective.
It is important that in the future they can have academic manuals as well as specific specialization courses that have a general vision of the concept, but also a direct application in their field of expertise. It would also be interesting if research in this area could be promoted and students could deepen at this level the analysis of the relationship between high sensitivity and gastronomic preferences.
It's necessary that future students and health professionals receive more information about this personality trait with talks, course of specialization, or intervention guides that help them treat high-sensitive patients. By differentiating this concept from medical diagnosis, it's much easier to obtain an effective interview and care.
It would be very important to introduce specific specialization courses adapted to each branch of knowledge where university students could be trained and learn in a meaningful way about high sensitivity. Given the difficulties we face in modifying established curricula, it would be an excellent idea to offer specialization courses as an alternative to formal education of students.